Okay, great. So thank you everyone for coming, and a very warm welcome to Audra, who is joining us from Boston. Thank you so much for taking out of your busy schedule to join us today. Audra is our partner manager at edX, and she's going to share with us edX's best practices for marketing, and we'll learn how to successfully promote the Israeli courses in the next 45 minutes. And then we'll have time for Q&A. We have a representative today from, I think that 8 different institutions, the Technion, Tel Aviv University, Ben-Gurion University, Professor Boaz Hus and Dr. Yoed Kedari, Bar-Ilan University, HIT, hello, Dr. Michal Gordon, and Shankar, I think. So,
and we also have Mark from Council of Higher Education with us.
Okay, great. Hi, Mark. And Professor Emmanuel Greengard from Shankar. Thanks for being here. And of course, Ran Raviv, the director of campus. Okay, so Audra, I'll hand over to you now.
Great. I would actually love to hear just a brief introduction of everyone, not just your institution, but your role on the team too. I think that would be really helpful to hear who's on the call today, if you don't mind.
Sure. So let's start with you, Michal.
So I'm Michal Gordon. I'm part of a 2 instructor team, me and Professor David Ariel from the Weizmann Institute. We're writing a course on liberating programming, system development for everyone. With us are also Ronen and Gal, and I let them introduce themselves. They're part of the team. That's it, I guess.
Hi,
I need to say that our course is a little bit late in the preparation, so we're not we're starting now to market it, and I believe we'll be up in middle of December.
Great.
I'm Ronen. I'm part of the group that's working with Michal. I'm an instructional designer and the head of the Center for Advancement of Teaching at HIT, Holon Institute of Technology.
Great.
Yoed Kedari.
Hi, my name is Yoed Kedari. I'm from Ben-Gurion University. I'm working with Professor Boaz Hus. We are developing the MOOC on Introduction to Kabbalah. And we are looking forward to start marketing.
Great.
And Yaniv from the Technion.
Oh, we can't hear you.
No.
Let me try.
Can
you?
Yeah, we can hear you.
So I'm working with Professor Miki Elad about a course on spatial presentations. We're running a special program, which consists of 2 MOOCs essentially. And the first one is almost done. It should be launched in less than a month from now. And we are working hard on the second part.
Great.
Boaz, Professor Boaz Hus.
I'm working on also from Ben-Gurion University, working with Yoed on the introduction to Kabbalah.
Great.
Professor Emmanuel Greengard from Shankar.
Hi, I'm from Shankar. I'm from the software engineering department of Shankar, and I'm the project manager of our class theory of design. And I'm happy to say that we have 11 lecturers participating in it.
Wow.
Yeah. Gal?
Like everybody else, we are a little bit late, and we'll be on the air on November the 28th.
Great.
Yeah. Gal, we can't hear you. So I will move on to Mark.
Gal,
yeah.
Introduce yourself. Well, she's pretty. She's our new project manager. We had a project manager called Lilach who was on maternity leave, and Gal joined us. And I believe that the marketing is something that she will help us with as well. So.
Okay, great. And also Bracha from HIT, right?
Yes.
I can see her here. Okay. No, and Dr. Mark Asraf from the
Hi, I'm from
Council for Higher Education. Mark?
Academic Division, and I'm accompanying this study for the courses.
We have some young marketers in the background there too.
Yeah.
יאללה, שושיק, תני לי לעבוד.
אבל שטפתי להם את הכלים.
כל הכבוד, מתק. אלופה, יאללה.
Thanks everyone for your introductions. It's great to just hear a little bit more about who's on the phone, and thank you all for taking the time today to talk about marketing as well. I am going to share my screen. Let's see. Yep, that's the end. To talk a little bit more about marketing, and more specifically what you and your teams can start thinking about and pursuing for marketing your course. Some of this you may have heard already, at least the introductory part from our friends at IsraelX at the NDB. But I'm going to start by just giving a quick overview of how edX thinks about marketing, what our role in marketing is, and what we look to you as course teams, as instructors, as members of your institutes to do to get the word out and ultimately to get students to be enrolling and being active in your course. So this is our marketing circle. On the right side, you can see some of the channels that edX has in the blue side. What edX is good at is getting lots of people from lots of different places, diverse learners in big numbers to our website. I sort of call it the big net fishing approach. We mostly market the edX brand, and we market sort of specific programs or opportunities that are bundled together. So when edX sends out social media, oftentimes it's about learning more at edX. There might be a course here or there, but the majority of our marketing is to get lots of people who are interested in pursuing lifelong learning and finding ways to advance their career, in wanting to explore what opportunities the platform has to get to the platform. So we really focus on that big, wide net. And our key channels are through thought leadership, which is when our leadership is going out to conferences, talking about edX, talking about what we are doing, the innovations that we are pursuing. We have our student newsletter, which goes out to all of our millions of active learners. We have the website, which has just a few spots on it to highlight some courses. We have robust social media channels, which include Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, and we're exploring a lot with Quora right now too. I don't know if you're familiar with that platform, but that's something that we're actually digging a lot into now. Our partnerships with various other channels and blog posts and traditional media. Again, these generally focus on big ticket news items that are promoting the edX brand in a big way. So through all of those channels, we're bringing that big, wide audience to the site. Once they're at the site, we're not quite sure all the time what exact course they're looking for. We don't know if they are interested in Kabbalah. We don't know if they are a biologist. We're not sure if programming is exactly what those individuals want. We do know what people look for in general on the site, what kinds of courses resonate well. So we can target a little bit on that. But as far as super targeted marketing, that's not where our strength is. And we don't always know what people are looking for on the site. So once they get there, they're going to be searching for specific topics. They're going to be browsing around, and hopefully they're going to find your course and enroll in it. So that's why we've spent a lot of time with you, and the Israel team has spent a lot of time on your About page, so that once students land there, they get very intrigued and they hit that enroll button. What we look to from your teams is really the key thing is identifying and finding out where those targeted learners are. How do you define the person that wants to take the Kabbalah class? How do you define the person who's interested in the programming class? Pretty specifically. And as experts in these areas, how can you identify where you can find those specific learners? So does that happen through, and there's, so the pink side kind of shows some of those channels that we want to talk through today on how you can think about brainstorming and leveraging. And that includes your institution's networks, which are very strong because people who are coming to your institution's networks, whether they're web properties or they are alumni, are people who already want something from your institute. So you've already narrowed down a little bit the funnel and the target, right? You've got somebody who might be, have graduated, maybe took your class when they were an undergraduate and are super excited to see this course and are going to tell people about it because they know the school, they know you. Maybe they're pursuing your website because they know that your institute or your department has a great reputation for courses in the topic area. And as they're browsing around, wouldn't it be great if there was a link to the course on edX? Because you found somebody who wants that topic area, who knows who knows your brand. We've got faculty networks, which is really starting to hone in on the folks who know best exactly where to find big swaths of people who will be interested in the course. And we know that those of you on the call who are faculty are involved regionally, internationally, and associations have networks that are vast and broad. And so thinking about the best way that you can leverage those to get the word out is really important. Then of course there's kind of course to course and course social media. This sort of gets a little bit more into the time when you may have multiple courses where you're able to market an upcoming course to an audience who's already taken a course. Maybe it's something that you work with the Israel team to find out if there's opportunities across your courses to be marketing, if that makes sense. That really is a little bit further later in the process. And so the way we see this is that this is really the engine that makes the best marketing campaigns. It's edX bringing diverse, huge numbers to the platform combined with your efforts to get those targeted audiences there that create an engine that's going to keep on going. And a lot of the edX, I'm going to move on to kind of our key channels, the newsletter, website, and social media are driven by course performance. And so what we look for are courses who are getting a lot of people to those about pages, who are having students enroll, students are purchasing a verified certificate. There's lots of different pieces that go into our performance algorithms, but the courses that are performing the highest are going to have the highest chance to be highlighted on our key platforms, in the newsletter, on the website and in social media. So this is also why the marketing efforts on your side to help start that engine, to help start that organic growth is really important as the course starts. So a little bit more about our newsletter, website, and social media. We have 2 newsletters that go out weekly. One is a general newsletter to all learners. A piece of this that is really good to know is that we've been experimenting and implementing a lot of personalized spots on the newsletter, meaning that many of the designated courses are actually surfaced by somebody's browsing behavior. So this means if they've been looking at courses in a particular topic area, if they have looked at your institute or the other IsraelX courses, the chances that your course will be put in front of somebody who is very interested in it are higher with a personalized approach that we're taking. The website only has 12 spots available for courses on it. I have to say it's very competitive to get on to those website spots, but it is one of our big channels. And then of course, social media, which we're able to take a little bit more advantage of topical and sort of other hooks around course themes, whether that's holidays, trends that are happening in the news, in the media, being able to promote lists or courses in a particular theme area happen on social media. So I'm gonna stop there at the edX overview and see if there are any questions at this point.
Can I ask a question? Do you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. You mentioned just the newsletter, the general newsletter, website, and the social media. What should we do in order to get on them? Should we write you a letter?
So this is where really our marketing department looks at the course, every individual course performance, and that's kind of judging, that's one of the key metrics of how they decide which courses get promoted in the newsletter, website, and social media. So this is, so if
it's after the fact, it's after the first run.
It's not after the first run. It's sort of like as soon as the course is announced, they're going to start watching how it's doing. Are people coming to the page? Are they enrolling? What kinds of numbers? And in comparison to some of the courses that are coming out in the same period. So I, as your partner representative, am also advocating for your courses internally. That's part of my job. But the way that they're chosen frequently is on this various performance data.
Okay, thanks.
And then of course, the personalized courses, those are gonna show up inevitably to the right people in the newsletter.
Excuse me? So just to understand, the performance is after we've had our first students, our first run, right? Or can you, like, what do you call for performance? Like good
so performance is how sort of just how things are going as soon as the course is announced. So they're looking at our students coming to the course and enrolling in the course is what we mean by that. And that's how the promotion is dependent. So it's before the course starts. It's that period in the month before the course of how registrations are going, how enrollments are going, and that piece.
Okay, and I have another question. How horrible it is. I understood that it's like, is it really a period that people enroll during before the first semester, or like how bad is it that we're starting in December? Should we start, like, if the course is starting in December and you're saying publicize the month before, can we start publicizing now because this is the time, because it's a month before the semester in the US, or because the courses are offered all the time, is there no big difference?
Yeah, so I would say we see a big spike of people taking courses in January because it's like the new year and people are thinking about self-improvement. As far as aligning with school semesters, not so much. I mean, certainly I understand that that's a important date and time factor for you if you're running the course on campus, but if you're not,
we're obliged to run it on campus,
yeah.
But yeah.
But to the majority of students who are coming to the platform, it is less on that time period. Our average age, I think right now of a student is like 26. So in fact, most of our edX.org students who are coming likely may not even be in school. I mean, many of them are professionals or looking for work. So that school semester timeline doesn't necessarily matter.
Okay, and one more question. How, like you're talking globally, how important is it to do local publicity, like in Israel? Okay, I'm on a TV show. Oh, look, we're doing this course. This is only applied to the Israel community. So how is that?
So I think where you have your networks is the place to leverage it. If your strongest networks are in Israel, then focus on that. You're going to get a lot of people, and that's really going to help to start your side of that circle driving, which is going to keep the blue side of the edX side going. So I think if you have opportunities, if you have networks that extend beyond Israel, we absolutely encourage you to be using those, but also understand that probably your strongest networks are in country or regional too. So I'm going to go a little bit through starting at the beginning of thinking about on your side in defining the target audience. And hopefully you thought a little bit about this as you were writing your about page, but who at a very specific level is the target audience for your course? What are the demographics? If you take a step back and think about it, where can you find them? Online or offline? Are they working? Are they at a specific company? Are they in a specific industry? Is there a region where there may be more people who fit your target audience? What are the problems they're trying to solve in their day-to-day? And how can your course help them or solve that problem? These are the questions you want to start out with as you're thinking about the messaging and reaching out to the networks that you have for course promotion. Does this resonate with everyone? Does this sound like it's difficult or easy?
Not very difficult.
What did you say?
I said, no, not very difficult.
Not very difficult. And I really encourage you, they're thinking about multiple target audiences. I'm sure that your courses are not just helpful to one specific audience, but the more that you can define multiple audiences, then you can clearly create plans for reaching them. Because if you have 3 different types of audiences, you're likely not going to find them in the same place, which means you're going to have to use different avenues to reach them. In thinking about the problems that your target audience is trying to solve and how your course helps them, we encourage you in the messaging, whether this is an email, on social media, and talking to your networks, be specific about the offering. Make sure you're being clear that it's a digital course, that it's online, that it's on edX, that if there's specifics within the course that you want to be highlighting, even better. Is there an opportunity to be studying with someone who is world-renowned in the topic area, who is known from the university? Is it is there something in the course that's unique? Are you using a really cool tool? Are you offering any live interaction with the professor? Anything that can be, the more specific, the better. And again, here, it's also really important to, in the right channel, say how your course is going to help the person that you are reaching out to. Be sure to clarify the start date. Provide a great call to action. We've seen that sign up works better than enroll. Maybe it sounds a little bit more interesting. Take the course here, and creating urgency also helps. If you are talking to folks or doing social media a week before the course opens, last chance to take this course. The first MOOC by Haifa University. You all have a great opportunity here. Many of you are doing MOOCs for the first time, which can be something to really highlight. You can highlight the innovation that you are also doing within the university. So there's lots of opportunities around creating urgency that will really get people to click through and take the course and enroll. I wanted to talk a little bit about the specific institution networks that we've seen partners be able to leverage. I think I first might ask of those of you on the phone, are any of you already in contact with your institution marketing departments or communication departments? Great, yes. I heard one yes, awesome. I see another shake of a yes. That's great that some of you already are.
Also with the spokesman of the university.
Pardon?
Also with the spokesperson of the university.
Fabulous, great. For those of you who aren't, I encourage you to find out who you need to be in contact with to get the institution's attention and best ways to promote the course from their channels. So what channels might these be? If you are your department or your sub-school within the school, email blasts and events are great opportunities to highlight the course. Alumni news and networks through your alumni departments. Events, Facebook groups, which many people maintain, and email lists. And student networks for current students, newspapers, Facebook, Reddit. I know a lot of you are running your courses on campus. One way to expand that too is also to even have the students who are in your course, encourage them to be talking about the course with their friends who can sign up on edX. Alumni news and networks are great, especially if if there are department ways to reach them. Alumni who have taken those courses or been in the department will tend to feel very linked back. And of course, even at the highest institution levels, I heard somebody say they've talked with the spokesperson on how the course can be promoted. Oftentimes, the institution channels are gonna be having a broader message on the course than messages that you might be sending to your individual networks. So I'd also continue to encourage you to talk with these representatives and find out the best way to position the course too. Sometimes people really want to be able to say this is the first MOOC, and that does drive a lot of interest. It's also something that can only work once. So if there are more courses coming from the department, how do you continue from the school? How do you continue to drive interest when it's no longer the first MOOC? And what are the key pieces of it that are going to get folks' attention to take it? So specifically, we also find that when institutions link to the course, it's one of the more trackable metrics that we can see. So we can see those referrals coming from the institution. And what's great about links on any of the web properties, which can be all different types that the institution has, is that students, not necessarily students, people are coming to your website because they know the institution and they are already looking to solve a problem or find a course on a particular topic. So when you have links to the course in the appropriate places, it makes it very easy for people who are already looking for similar information to get right to the course. So this could be as much as having it on the home page of the institution, which I know is very difficult and prized real estate. It could be department pages. It could be pages that are outlining online learning initiatives or digital courses in general. Some schools have kind of all of their different online offerings aggregated in one place. This is a great place to put a link to your course, and also on student resource pages. We definitely encourage the more places for the links, the best, where they make sense. Is this something any of you have explored yet?
I think this is almost obvious in a sense, yes.
Well,
these are the tools we are using anyhow, all the time in order to promote ourselves.
I appreciate that it's obvious to you, and I'm really glad that you're already pursuing this. I highlight all of this because unfortunately it's not always obvious to all teams, and depending on the resources of the university and who is on the MOOC team, these may not be the first things that folks are thinking about. So I did want to take the opportunity. I apologize if this is already on everybody's radar.
No, maybe I'm lucky. I'm in a small college, so I have easy access to all these persons.
Yeah, so that's great, and it's exactly what you said. You should be trying to leverage all the places that the university already leverages to promote itself, and find the best ways to insert your courses into those channels.
Yeah.
So this is just a few examples.
I have a small question.
Sure.
So what is the amount of students you usually see in the first round of this course? Like for example, if I'm thinking about it, and I think that this type of, like our type of course, which is not aimed at specific, it's like general public, but it was something that might catch on, in the second round or third round. Of course, we're promoting the first round, but what would be like a good number for a first round?
There's it's very difficult to say. I mean, I think there's a huge variety in numbers that we see on courses across the platform, and there's so many variables for each of those that it's impossible to provide a number to say this is a good number to see.
So for me, I kind of think that, like my thoughts, I kind of don't want too many people registered for the first run, because as I understand it, there's a lot of fix and there's a lot of things that I will learn once giving the course. And I don't want, I want an experience, but I don't want too many people. And for example, in the Institute, we opened the course, I opened it for 20, and today I told them find 25 because the whole 20 spots filled, but I kind of don't want too many students. I want to follow up more closely. So this is also a type of marketing, right? Students hear that there's a course they can't register to, it's already filled. It's also good.
Well, the MOOC, we never will close it, so it's open and available to everyone. And I think that, it's certainly what your goals are for the course are important, and that's what you're trying to reach. So that's going to drive your success measures more than anything. I think, some things to keep in mind is that in a MOOC environment, there will be attrition, right? So Your verified students, those who choose to get a verified certificate, are probably going to be, will tend to be your most engaged students who are there. And if you're looking for that to experiment in that small environment, even creating, you know, separate cohorts for them or experiences for the verified certificate could be something that you think about in the future. That's a great way to do that. I wouldn't try to limit, you know, or think about that in a way of limiting students into the overall experience. I think you will see that there's decline and attrition throughout the experience. Some students are coming in never with the goal of completing a course or doing the whole course. Their goal is to have a little bit of information here, a little bit of information there. And so people are taking it for lots of different reasons too. Okay.
And you can't give any numbers of various courses. What was
it is so, we've got 1,500 courses on the platform right now, and the types of
way for us to
are so dramatically different that it's really, there's no way to even say this, like, this is a good number.
Okay.
This is just a few examples from Delft University of the way that they've provided links appropriately on their online learning portal. You can see here, these are some edX courses. You can take that card, you can have a link. They have outlined it here on their online learning page. And some examples of department pages, again, where the online courses are available. Depending on, sometimes we see success if, and I know that college is a lot less expensive in Israel, but using free course can sometimes be attractive as a link for students. You know, you could also position it as an opportunity for students, you know, to have a taste of Technion because they don't have to be an enrolled student to be able to take that course. So course teams have found creative ways of sort of putting the course there and really being able to reach particularly folks who are on the website who may not be enrolled students and part of the community who really want to be a part of your institution's community. Other institution web properties, this goes back to, you know, just a few other people to be talking to, social media, blogs, and then your institution's media. So if you're in touch with your marketing and communications department, there may be opportunities for promotion in all of these as well. Moving on to faculty networks, this is really where a lot of creative brainstorming can take place. So as faculty, whether you are working and you're on this call, which I really appreciate your time being here, or you're part of a team who's working closely with faculty, identifying with them the networks that can be leveraged is really one of the best ways to find those super targeted avenues for learners who are going to be the most, the largest number are going to be the most directly interested in the course. Sometimes some faculty, and some of you on the phone, may be really open to this, and some people may not want to be reaching out and using their networks in all of these ways. So I encourage you as faculty and as course members to think about creative ways, some networks to be using, and even if it's from a brainstorming perspective, even if it is, in some of these cases, the faculty member may be able to reach out with their connections to industry associations, to conferences that they are a part of, to corporations that they have relationships with, and be open to talking to those folks about putting a link into a newsletter for an association newsletter, finding out at the corporation if this course serves a need for some of their employees. That may feel comfortable to some of you. To some of you, it may not. But I think the exercise of going through and identifying these associations, corporations, and conferences is really important, because sometimes then a third party person can also reach out if it's an ask that you don't feel comfortable making for that relationship. So we've seen some really great, have a course team right now who's doing an architecture imaging course. And so the professor has just reached out to the National Association of Architects in the country, who is at first was hesitant about the course, and he talked about how it's really kind of a great new online way of teaching some digital imaging that's needed for architects, and they really loved the idea. And so now the National Association is really loving this course and is going to be promoting it to their 40,000 members as an opportunity for them for professional, development. So it was something that we brainstormed together that he hadn't thought of reaching out in that way. So I also encourage you, if there are questions or brainstorms that you want to participate in, happy to work through the Israel team on some of the best ways to think about these networks. Also, if from your own, as faculty, your own social media and email lists, if you have a robust digital platform, those of course are also great ways to let people know about this great new course that you're going to be running on edX. On the same similar note, the other networks to be thinking about are similar to the categories of faculty networks, but how can you reach them in general? This is also an opportunity to really be brainstorming creative ways and going back to that first question of where do you find the target audience? Who are, whether you have a connection yet with them or not, who are the associations? Who are the industries? Who are corporations that may be interested in this course because it solves a problem for them? And playing with small budgeted targeted paid ads can also be another interesting avenue for promotion, specifically on Facebook. We had one example of a university who was doing an international development course. And so there was a big international conference happening. Thousands of people from around the world were all going to be, I forget what city, let's say it was Sydney, Australia. So the team put a couple $100 into Facebook ads for the course. They targeted the zip code of the conference. And so they knew that there were going to be thousands of people who were really interested in this topic area, all in Sydney during the conference. And so instead of trying to find them around the world when they weren't all in Sydney, they ran ads for a few days under the zip code of Sydney, and targeting with Facebook specific targeting very robust. That ad showed up to people all when they were there. And so it was a very creative, they got great conversions through that. So it was a very creative way of small budget, highly targeted paid ads to reach a very specific audience. Are there questions at this point?
I have one question, Audra. Could you please expand a little bit on the subject of SEO?
Sure. So SEO, search engine optimization, your about page was reviewed by our marketing team before it was published and came back with some suggestions to optimize SEO. So SEO affects search on edX, but it also can help to pull up your course on Google as well. And so what SEO does is to put keywords into ensuring that keywords are in the title and brief description of your course, will help it surface in search rankings, both in edX.org and potentially in Google as well. So using keywords, particularly in paid ads, is also very important because those are going to reach the largest audience as well.
Right, thanks.
The other piece I just wanted to highlight really quickly was in-course engagement. So once the course starts, it's also, I don't want to say marketing because it's really making sure that students are engaged in the course throughout, but that also could potentially help them decide whether they want to take a verified certificate as well. So
I'm popping over the question, sorry. Is
yes,
okay? I'm not sure it's to you, maybe it's more to a staff or Iran, but you mentioned using some budget for ads on Facebook and such. Are we, can we use some of our budget for ads? Or this is not a question to Audrey?
No.
That's probably not a question for me.
Yeah,
Okay.
no.
And Asaf, this is something for you to think about, maybe.
Yeah, that's probably a question for Mark. We'll probably need to consult your Tom about that, but we will.
Okay, we'll do it offline. It's an interesting question that pops into my mind now, because if it's useful to promote the course, maybe we should set aside a bit of the budget for that. Okay.
Sure.
Please continue, Audrey. Sorry.
Sure. So this, again, is just sort of...
Sorry, maybe I could just ask this.
Sure.
You know how effective is the ad promotion on networks relative to just other type of promotion? Do you know if it's very effective or?
It can be. The thing with Facebook ads that it's really all about experimenting, and you might run an experiment that doesn't work. And it's a lot about learning, iterating and learning and being willing to sort of change course along the way. So I think the example that I shared from that course, the development course, I don't know how many other campaigns they experimented with before they, came up with the idea about this conference targeted ad, which was a huge success. So I think you just need to go in. I think with all of these approaches, having an experimental mindset is the best way to go. Taking the time to sit down and whether it's for a few minutes now, but over the next week, and start to think about a marketing plan, even if it seems like there's too much and it's like you're not going to be able to reach all of these associations or all these corporations, but just brainstorming every possible way that and network that you have to leverage as a starting point, and then figuring out what experiments, what's worth trying, trying to talk to folks at one association. If it doesn't work, who's next? And thinking about it in that way is going to be the right mindset to go into. And you're going to learn along the way. And, as talking with people, your messaging, that's all going to be an iterative process too.
Okay, thank you. Sorry for disappointing. I have this coughing thing. I don't want you guys to see me cough. Sorry.
So this is just a few tips on in-course engagements of making sure that you're, emailing students, of course, engaging them in the discussion forum, but also just having some regular points of contact with them throughout the course, which can also be, a little bit of marketing when the course starts or right before the course starts. Give them a warm-up email. Tell them to invite a friend to join the course. Let them know why a verified certificate could be helpful to them in a specific way. edX has some very general language around upgrades for verified certificates. It's really more effective when the course team makes that even more specific to your course, especially if you have a course that has a clear career outcome, and you could talk about that specifically as the value of the verified certificate, that can be very powerful. If you have multiple courses running or will in the future on the platform, making sure that you are going back to the audiences that you already have and letting them know about new runs, telling them to tell their friends about new runs. If you have an additional course coming up, going back and using those audiences to continually let them know and promote the next course is really valuable. So are there questions or more details that I should dig into at this point on anything I've covered?
I just wanted to ask about, can you hear me?
Yep.
About the personalized page. Is that the 12 courses that you're offering at the homepage are personalized by past searching?
No, in the newsletter, some of the spots in the newsletter are personalized. The website is not personalized.
I see, okay.
Has anybody started to have conversations or reach out to any of these channels in your planning already?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what's the outcome been? Are you?
We started planning. Go ahead, please. Sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
We start planning the channels that we want to use. Basically, all the things that you mentioned, both the university channels and other association related to Jewish studies. We actually had a very big conference on Jewish studies, but we missed that chance. But basically, what we are trying to think is only a month could be a good time for this kind of marketing campaign. Or we are already very late to start with it.
So a month is, that's not too late. I think in like thinking about the plans, it's always good to have those brainstorms and ideas and early conversations early, but anything that you can do between now and the course start is really important.
Okay.
I think, you know, one example I forgot to mention too, that we had kind of on this other networks from the corporation side, oops, we had, you know, a course from a university that was on railroad manufacturing. So it's a very specific topic. And so they reached out to several railroad corporations. They were in the Netherlands. And this was not through the faculty, it was even just the course team reaching out from doing their research and approached 2 or 3 railroad manufacturers, and one of which really took to the idea, was really excited that this course was available. And so then through that manufacturer's their email, social media, and I think even and at a conference, they promoted the course through all of their channels. So just wanted to kind of give an example there of even just brainstorming without having the connections, but a logical fit for the course can be worth it too, in reaching out as well. There's also, if the course is more career focused, reaching out and seeing if it's something that a corporation would find useful for their employees is another great avenue to take there. So 10 o'clock. should we take time for questions? The other thing I was going to suggest is if people wanted to spend a couple of minutes right now, if you haven't done this exercise, to define a target audience and brainstorm a few places where you can find your target audience, some creative approaches, and then maybe share with each other some ideas, if that would be helpful.
Audra, I just have an update from CHE. So regarding the questions, the question Michal was asking, the answer is yes. You may use your budget for digital marketing.
But to actually vote.
Thanks. Thanks. I heard that.
I can't hear you.
Is there anyone here who already started, like can see people enrolling in the course? Because my course is not up, right? Asaf, are there any courses that are up already, like people can register?
Yeah, 3 of them already. Hopefully, hopefully we'll
can you see how many people are registered? Someone is talking, maybe mute yourselves, you know.
Sorry, I can't hear you.
Emmanuel, yeah.
Emmanuel, could you please mute?
אני בשיחת טלפון עם מישהו אחר, אני מצטער.
Thanks.
Emmanuel, there's a little mic on the screen if you move the mouse on the left side, and you can mute it. No, just letting you know, and then we wouldn't bother you. Okay, sorry.
Okay, I muted it now, just now.
Yeah, now you're muted. We can't hear you, but you can hear us.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fine. Sorry about that.
So hopefully all the other courses will be announced soon. And I just got an update from the Council for Higher Education. Thank you, Mark. Good news. You are, Michal, for your question. You are allowed to use developing budget for marketing purpose.
If we have any left, by the way.
Yeah.
This is something to add for the new courses that maybe they want to leave a little bit of the budget for marketing.
Yeah. So, so a social network campaign payment will be approved as a recognized expense.
Okay. So my other question is, are we going to do something for you said there's a couple of courses coming out in Israel. Are we going to do something in the press in Israel? And also, is this the venue to talk about it? Because this is all the courses and you guys, and I understand, Audrey, that you're also part of the Israeli initiative, IsraelX. So is there anything that we're going to do on the news? Like we want them to, because we can get them to do an article on the first courses are coming out, and maybe we can try on the local news, because as Audrey said, this is a good place to start.
Sure. Eran, would you like to answer this one?
Sure. So both the Communication Office of Ministry of Social Equality and the Council of Higher Education will be putting some efforts towards that end. Communicates, Facebook posts, tweets, as we have all course pages up and running, we will start to do that.
Okay, there's a higher education Facebook page. Who has access to that? You have access to that?
No, that would be the Communication Office of the Council of Higher Education.
But you're in contact with that?
Yes, and Mark is here. Mark is here on
yes,
the call.
So how are we doing this though? Can we send you a suggested post and they'll post it, or are you guys working on it? And are you doing something for all the courses, or do you want to teach
our communication service is working with CHE communication service on the communicates.
Okay.
One small clarification, the Institute must, of course, report this in the implementation report, how much it spent, what exactly, and etc.
That was obvious, Asaf. Of course. Okay, so.
Are there any questions?
Just about doing something that is all the courses, like for example, is edX going to do a little piece, or, I don't know, where you publicize things on new courses coming out of IsraelX, or is that is that something that you might do?
It's not on the radar right now, but can keep you posted on that.
Okay, and in case you're doing it, if you want like a one-liner from us, and you know how to get to us.
Mm-hmm.
Audra, I have a question.
Yep.
Do you have experience promoting audiences for countries like Israel? For instance, our course, Michal's course, is programming, which is kind of a very friendly approach to programming. Mm-hmm. Could we have a mailing list of all the students, the potential students who are interested in programming, and contact edX and suggest them a course that attacks the issue of programming from a more visual and friendly perspective? So this is like most of the stuff that you talked about is how to get interest in Israel, but we're interested in like international crowd. So do you have any tips how like an isolated state like Israel could get stronger contacts with potential crowds from the States, for instance?
So I think two things. I think one, I can keep that we do frequently topical newsletters around programming because it is a very popular topic on the site. So I can keep that, your course in mind to flag to our marketing department if there's an opportunity for that. So we do, like on Thursdays, there are thematic newsletters that go out that may be just like what you said. It'll be around programming. It could be around other topic areas where we have a number of courses that are happening within the same period. So I think the other piece is by being on the platform, you're going to have a lot of international exposure, and a lot of what our marketing does to bring those, the big fish, the dragging the net through the ocean kind of numbers that we're bringing to the site are coming from all over the world. So that piece is going to be the international. It will expand your course and the university to a much more international audience. And I think if you are promoting it and helping those numbers regionally, it's going to help the engine and that circle of continuous promotion within our platform. So it's going to help to increase that there.
Thanks.
I also, I think that you will see you will see interesting demographics without a doubt in your course from well outside of Israel.
Yes, we might actually see interest. Yeah, it's a really good experiment. You have on your website to see which countries people are logging on from, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's great. Perfect.
Any other questions?
Seems no. So, Audra, it was very enlightening information. Thank you so much for your time, and good luck to all of us in the last month before the courses began.
And if you have questions, send them to Asaf, and we will make sure that they all get addressed.
Sure.
Sure. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thanks a lot.
And good luck, everyone. And Shana Tova, Happy New Year, Happy New Jewish.
Shana Tova.
Right. Thanks.
Shana Tova.
שנה טובה ממני, מרק.
תודה. ביי.